Hey guys, Brian here for Better Chess Training, and I got a little treat for you today. I've got a guest commentator, a young player. We met a few months ago. We played in a tournament, and we correspond regularly. We play some correspondence chess together, and I've actually got a 50% win rate against him. However, the more we play, the lower it's probably going to be. He's 13 years old. He's rated 2100 USCF, but I suspect in the next 12 months he'll be breaking that national master mark of 2200. And his name's Amogh Tripathi from Cleveland, Ohio. And enjoy the video. Okay, we've got a treat today. I'm here with young rising chess star Amogh Tripathi. What's your rating now, Amogh?
2113.
2113 USCF.
Yeah.
So quite. I think we're going to learn some stuff today, and Amogh has agreed to show us one of his instructive games, and I'm going to let him talk, and then I'm going to just interrupt when I don't understand something. How does that sound?
Okay. Of course.
Okay, go ahead, and
Mhm.
yeah, I'll just watch, and like I said, I'll stop whenever I I need to ask a question.
Of course. So a little background on this game before we get started. This was at one of those big fancy Cleveland Open tournaments, one of those city championship type tournaments. This is the final round, so the final game of the tournament, and I was in a must-win situation. So it was
Awesome,
quite a pressureful game. Um, it's quite enjoyable, and I hope you enjoy.
great.
So
Well,
start with
well, about what rating was your opponent? Just
he was around 1820.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
So
So pretty strong player.
yeah, tough player. Okay, go ahead.
So knight f3. So I'm the white pieces. I have the white pieces against Kiran with the black pieces.
Mhm. Oh, I
Um
played Karak. Yeah, he's very good.
oh yeah. Knight f3, knight f6, g3, d5. So this is my standard opening. I've been playing it for about a year and a half now.
Okay.
And for those of you who don't know me very deeply, I'm one of those players who likes to play those boring positions. I don't like to have big margin of error. Of course, my games against Brian have been a bit different. But I'm a more boring guy, so
And we'll have a video with a recent game I had against him. And just to be fair, I think we're 1-1.
oh yeah,
You're 1-0 over the board, and correspondence I have one win on you. So
yeah.
go on. Very good.
Um, so Bishop G2. This is theory that I've studied with fianchettoing the bishop and castle. Play a bit more moves in the opening.
Hmm.
So solid stuff. I'm not showing him too early that I'm playing for a win. Takes.
Uh-huh.
All right. I feel like here this was a mistake. Um, because after takes, we get into this Carlsbad structure.
Hmm.
Um, which is both sides having a d pawn, one side having a c pawn, and the other side having an e pawn. And usually the side with the c pawn is better, which is in this case him. I didn't realize this over the board. I did come to regret it, um, but I had to work around it. So that's kind of the lesson throughout the game, how to work around stuff.
Hmm.
All right. So, yeah. Uh, so here he played h6, which I felt like through my previous prep for him, he was gonna play g5 and g4 and h5 and h4. Uh,
Hmm.
g5 and g4, h5, h4. And that's kind of what I wanted to combat. I didn't want to defend because I'm not the greatest defender. So I went h4 myself, completely shut down his plan. And then he spotted this really nice knight maneuver, which would get his knight to a um, better square, g6, and open up his bishop on this really good diagonal. And I recently weakened my or my light squares,
Hmm.
so these could be something I could potentially get attacked on. Um, so bishop b2, so I finished developing. This is the move I prepared when I played b3. Bishop f5, queen d2.
So just a quick clarification. Sorry. So
Mhm.
this position, even though maybe it's not the exact position, this setup is one that you prepared ahead of time.
This setup not exactly prepared, but this
Okay.
is kind of the idea of the position I was
Okay.
thinking.
But you're
So,
pretty
so
familiar. You're pretty familiar with it from your studies before
okay,
you went into
okay,
this game. Okay. Okay.
okay.
Continue. Thank you.
So as I said earlier, with this rook c1 move, we were in this Carlsbad, and as we've seen with this bishop f5 move, this rook e8 move, and his knight on f6, they're all trying to go after this e4 square. And usually my plan is to combat e4 with control of c5. So control of c5, and rook c1 gains furthermore control over these c5 square through an x-ray, and next I can go knight f4, knight f5, or knight d5, and well, it's not that bad. I can make up for the Carlsbad. So knight g6. This is normal stuff. Rook e8, rook fe1, bishop e4. So I didn't want to get into the pin because I felt like next he had knight e4, which was scary. Um, so I went queen d2, and he goes knight e4 anyways. Since I'm still in the pin, I go rook fe1, rook ef1. He goes bishop g4. And to get out of the pin once again, queen c2.
Okay. Well, how do you assess your position here? Like during the game, like did you feel that you it was even, or what did you feel during the game here?
So at this current position, I felt like I was it was equal, but I felt like I was slightly worse. Although I felt like he had to come up with a precise plan,
Okay.
which, as we may see in the future, he was not able to. Um, but I didn't see a concrete way for him to exploit my weaknesses,
Okay.
but I also wasn't a big fan of my position.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see how you
Um,
got out of it. Then let's see how you did this then.
of course. So queen f5. And this is just furthermore putting pressure on my weak king side because of this one bad h4 move.
Hmm.
And now my light squares are just falling apart. So I take. I tactically calculated this, and he can't take on f3 because after bishop takes knight d2, and then he can't take on g2, right? Because the queen is hanging, which
Hmm.
means he must take on c2. Rook takes, and even though material is equal, the position is closed. There are no open files, um, and so he really can't make a use of my weak light squares. So I didn't feel like this was worse. At best for him, I felt like this was a draw.
Okay.
Which I was happy to go into because I felt like I had a knight that could well exploit c5 versus his knight. I felt like was kind of not in great position to exploit e4. So I felt like that was another side advantage for my position. Um, but he did not take on f3 in the game.
Okay.
In the game, he took with the queen on e4. And here I played a very strange looking move, which was knight e1. um, and, well, of course, to many of you may be thinking how I am 21-13 when I'm playing this passive move. Um, well, the actual threat I was afraid of is let's go I go a4. He actually had a very beautiful rook trapping method that he could use after queen takes c2, rook takes c2, bishop f5. I can choose between e2 and c1. If I go rook e2, I'm losing to bishop d3, and I walk into this skewer. Uh, and otherwise, if I go rook cc1, then after bishop d3, rook f d1, and bishop e2, my rook is trapped, and I don't think this is going to give me great winning chances here. Um, so how does knight e1 defend this threat? After knight e1, after queen takes, rook takes, bishop f5, rook cc1, which all have, or rook c1, which is everything that happened in the game. He can't go bishop d3 because my knight will take it.
Very
Um,
nice.
which was the main intention of this move. And I didn't see a way he could really exploit my not so great rook position. And I also felt like, yes, aesthetically, his position might look good, but that bishop on b4, it's not really doing much. And I mean, yes, of course, it looks like a great bishop, don't get me wrong. But I just didn't feel like c3, c3, d2, like they're not really that big of targets. Like they're defended by my pieces, and I felt like I was better
Hmm.
because, I mean, all I had to do is activate my knight, which isn't that hard, through c2. Um, and I felt like, with some pawn attack on the queen side, I felt like I could easily try to play for an advantage in this position. So he straight away come back to my plan, which I just told you, which was to, attack on the queen side. Um, but I kick the bishop away, and now I give him a choice of restraining my pieces by going to d2, or retreating to e7, and well, having a passive bishop. And this is what I was talking about. If he goes to e7, then all of a sudden, is that bishop still a good bishop? I think Black would rather not have that bishop on the board just because it's restraining the rook from the semi-open e file, and it's really just staring at a brick wall. So, and if it goes to d2, which is what happened in the game, after rook a1, where's the bishop going? And now it just may be in potential threat to get trapped.
Right.
Um, so after b5, which is a blunder,
Yeah.
um, I played bishop f3, which is a mistake.
Hold on.
Uh,
Hey guys, pause the video here. And what would you play here as white? Okay, we're gonna give you 5 seconds. Pause the video. Okay, Moog, show us what we should have played here. I think I see it, but I'll let you take it away.
so instead of going bishop f3, I chose the right square but the wrong piece. Here I have to go knight to f3,
I hope you guys
and this is
found
what I
that.
was.
Go
I
ahead.
hope. I mean, if you found it, you're better than a 21, 13 year old. Knight f3, and this is what I was talking about a move ago. Where does the bishop go? And the bishop is trapped. And yes, I calculated this stuff. It doesn't work because I can just go to d1, and well, my threats are eventually going to trap the bishop, and it's going to be a win for me.
Yeah.
But I missed it, unfortunately. I saw some ghosts. And the reason I played bishop f3 is because if I played some random move, taking h2, I was afraid of b4, and then I don't want to open the A file because if I do, my rooks aren't connected, and he'll just get complete control of the only open file on the board. So after A4, then he can take on E1. After I retake, he goes bishop C2, and I can't defend this pawn, which is why after bishop f3, and now if he executes the same exact plan which happened in the game, so this is the game, king d2, and now, for those of you who are wondering, if he takes bishop c2, I meet
Yeah.
that with bishop d1.
Very
So
deep. Yeah. Very interesting.
uh, uh, quite complicated defense, but here I was feeling pretty confident in my position. King d2 or king b8, bishop d1. So I prevented anyways because I felt like that rook was x-raying on my b pawn through the b by the b4 pawn on the b file. So I just defended right away, and now there is no bishop c2. Rook c8, g4. And this is what I was talking about. Are his pieces really good? I mean, aesthetically, my position looked really bad, but I don't think my position looks that bad anymore, especially since his pieces have no squares. Um, and the h4 pawn is not hanging because of king g3, and black's knight and bishop are forked. which is kind of unfortunate. And otherwise, he really has to retreat. He has no other option. And after retreating, this was my plan. Like, okay, I have to hold a not so great aesthetically looking position. I still felt like I had a really good position in chess terms, but aesthetically it wasn't that great. And I had to be patient because I saw I had some weaknesses that of in his territory that I could attack. And after I persist through the attacks, through the tactics that he creates, and after I'm patient, I wait for the time. And that position that once aesthetically didn't look too bad or didn't look too great, now looks pretty good. And his pieces have to retreat to terrible squares. And now the only piece that hasn't retreated yet is this bishop. So, let's make fun of him. So
Yeah. I'm wondering what's going to happen here. Let's keep going.
93, 96. So he makes the
Co-
knight active again.
yeah, it's covering c5 too. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, which is one of the weaknesses. As I stated earlier in the Carlos pad, c5 is a weakness. And let's notice how it was him attacking like 5 minutes ago, and suddenly he's the one who's defending against my threats. That's just the benefit of being patient. So pawn takes, bishop f3. So I don't give up control over the only open file on the board. And well, I also create some threats. Knight g5, knight c5. So I'm not afraid of giving away the bishop pair after knight takes f3, king
Hmm.
takes f3, or excuse me, king takes f3, because, well, it's a closed position, there's only one open file, and, well, the knight's better than the bishop in these type of endgames.
Well, and
And, well,
also
c,
as the
yeah,
pieces come off, the king is better centralized anyway at this point. So
yeah,
that's great. Okay.
yeah. And, well, that c5 square is just so juicy, it's
Yeah.
awesome. Um, so he goes bishop e6 because the bishop was hanging a move ago. Rook d1. And suddenly that once great looking bishop that was on f5 is stuck on e6. That once great looking bishop on knight on g6 is now on g5, really attacking nothing. And that once great looking bishop on b4 is now stuck on d2. Um, so there is no concrete way of trapping this bishop because he always has the outlet to the c3 square. Um, Alright. And, well, there is no concrete way to trap the bishop. So after knight takes, king takes, he goes bishop c3, and, well, I mean, the bishop, I take it, and now this is just a weak pawn in my territory, so that's some delicious dinner. So
Hmm.
takes, and rook c1, and suddenly there's no way to
Yeah.
defend the pawn. And just how I was patient and I persisted through those
Yeah.
attacks, and suddenly his pieces they're just getting overwhelmed with my threats. So rook b8,
Hmm.
and rook takes c3. So now I'm up a pawn. Rook b6. And so I don't think this is the best way for him to play, since I mean endgame principles suggest that you should centralize your king. I feel like he
Hmm.
should go king f8, king f7, king d6, and my king is already greatly centralized, so he should try to get some compensation. But after knight takes, f takes, king f4, so further centralizing, king f7, king e5, king e7, and here playing a very deep move in the endgame. Um, if y'all want to pause the video and try to find it, for sure, go ahead. But for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it's b4.
Excellent.
Um, yeah, and, well, to a naked eye, it feels like it's just a free pawn. But be careful, because after rook takes c6, how do you defend this pawn? Additionally, how do you defend this and this? And, well, you're getting completely dominated in this endgame. So instead of taking on b4, he goes king d7.
Hmm.
I go rook a3. And I'm not threatening to invade on the seventh rank via a7. Or if he stops that, I'll come in the other way.
Hmm. Excellent.
Um, and after king e7, rook c8, so attacking this. And now he can't defend it with the king because after king d7, I'll go rook g8. And
Yep.
how his pieces are paralyzed is awesome. And now he really just can't defend g7. Um, so he must defend with the rook b6. rook c7. If he goes king f8, then after king f8, we will capture on e6,
Hmm.
threatening mate. Next move, which the only not losing instantly way is rook b8. After which we just take c6, we gobble d5, and well,
That
we
should be
gobble.
enough pawns, right? I think I can. I think I could convert from there. Very
Um,
nice. Okay, so uh, yeah, show us the finish here, and I'll give you a
yeah, so
couple
he goes king
impressions,
d8.
my impressions as well.
So he goes king d8,
Mhm.
rook takes g7, free pawn, right? Rook b4, rook takes b4, king d6. So not taking the pawn, which is okay, but we want to go for those forcing moves, as
Yeah.
we've talked about earlier.
Well, and definitely you could just grab those pawns at any time. It's
I mean, yeah, of course. And the thing with king d6, talking about grabbing those pawns at any time, is that after the king has to move to avoid mate because the rook really can't teleport to like e8.
uh-huh.
So the king must move, and now I just take a pawn and I threaten mate again.
Yep.
um, so after king f8, rook g6, attacking the pawn, and then I'll have two connected passed pawns. That should be enough to win. Rook b7, rook b2, rook takes h6, rook
Yeah, this is I
f2,
like
rook
this.
f, yeah, rook f6. Um, and well, trading into that king and pawn ending. And if he does takes, this is two extra pawns. Should be sufficient to win. So in this position, on move 53, Huron resigned the game, and I won the city championship, or tied for it. So
Awesome. Congratulations. Uh,
thank you.
couple of things I just want to tell our viewers and also you is that I was impressed with and all in all of our games that we played is a lot of times younger players are very good attackers and very good tactically and you're of course you're good, very good tactically as well but you showed a lot of patience here and maybe at some point I think during the middle game the position was pretty even but you took and you did and you admit you didn't play all of the best moves
No.
but you um, had a plan behind each of the moves, and then you
Mhm.
kept patiently
Yeah.
building your position. And as you said very eloquently, your opponent just ran out of moves because his position was cramped, his pieces had no squares, and then converted a very nice end game. Very good instruction. Well, rook end games, rook and pawn end games. If you've watched my channel, is one of my favorite types of end games. Very instructive and I think yeah, this was great. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. As you can see, Amogh loves chess, very enthusiastic about his chess, and it shows, and it's paying off for him. He's got a bright future, and looking forward to seeing his progress. Definitely leave a comment down below if you have any questions or want to give us some feedback on the video. I think he'd be interested in maybe doing some in the future, and I think I'd love to see that as well. Uh, so hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. If you are new to this channel, consider subscribing. Most of the videos are me giving chess improvement tips, training tips, talking about chess resources like Chessable and chess books, and analyzing my own games and talking about my own journey about chess. Over here, you can see a playlist. I have interviewed a couple other very strong players, so you can check that out over there. And otherwise, I hope you guys have a great day. See you next time.